Peace and blessings. Welcome back to Unexplained Mysteries Tarot. This video series is where I'm going to show you the decks from my collection that I will be working with or that I think are just good to have for the types of mysterious, supernatural, and paranormal readings that I will be diving into. Like I said, this will be a series. I've only pulled from one side of my collection, and I actually just found another deck that I think might be helpful in this pursuit. So let us begin, and this is in no particular order. I will share the deck, maybe some of the cards, and kind of why I chose it. So I'll go with this little guy first. This is the Alien Lenormand. This is the mini deck, and it's little aliens. It's just a tiny Lenormand deck, which I just thought was really cute. And since aliens are otherworldly beings, I thought that this would be a fun deck to include in this project. So something that I can use. So it comes with two mini, like an index to show which cards are which. And then it just has little alien figures on each of the cards, which I thought was super cute. The next deck is the Place Oracle. I have not used this. This is a 78 card deck. Got this one on Amazon, but it is specific to places, and I thought that that would be really nice to have. So there's different keywords that describes different areas. So this card is place of reminiscence, and so you can see the swing there, and then there's keywords at the bottom about nostalgia, memories, childhood reflection. We have a wind swept region, so I figured this would be really good at like describing conditions and locations. Damp and rainy realm, so you can see the mushrooms there, so I can just give an idea about places. And I love this card, the river. I love rivers and just water. So yeah, I thought this would be a really great, even like swimming pool. So it also has some regular cards, laboratory. So I can also share like what was a place being used for, different locations like beach, there's countryside. So just to kind of get an idea about a place or the energy of a place. So I figured that might come in handy. Let's see. Okay, so next we have Colette Baron Reid's Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. And I thought this would be a good one to work with just because it explores the unseen, what's hidden, and may shed some light on things. So have I used this deck before? Honestly, I'm not really sure. So this has like people cards. There's the Metal King, the Shadow Queen. I don't think I've read with this before. There's Gaia's Garden, a Well Watcher. And I have pulled another one of her decks. It's like the Wisdom of Avalon, Ringmaster of Scrutiny. So this may give more about, and I guess the wisdom that each of these people give. So it could provide some insights in that way. That's the Keeper of the Scales, Fairness and Balance. So it could give some ideas into people involved or the information being shared, things like that. So that was Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. Yeah, I don't know if I used this deck much at all. And since oh, that's at the bottom. But since I'm talking about the Wisdom of Avalon, this deck I thought was interesting because it's supposed to like merge the seen and unseen. It very much feels similar to Wisdom of the Hidden Realms as far as the imagery and things like that. So there's Merlin. Got Letting Go. There's the Hawk. So there's like animal guides of Avalon. There are sacred journey markers, messengers. So there's focus. You can see like there's an arrow down in the bottom corner, the path with trees, eagle, the butterfly. So this has a lot of nature elements to it. And I do like the imageries. I like the artwork. I think it's very just soft. And yeah, I think that this deck could definitely come in handy in readings also. So I would say these two, Wisdom of the Hidden Realm and Wisdom of Avalon, would be like honorable mentions. This baby I have not read with in quite some time, but I thought this would be really great. The Deviant Moon Tarot, just because it is so different, not gruesome, but kind of just very unique, a little grotesque, I guess. So I thought this would lend well to abstract readings also, just because of the images and the artwork. There's the Ace of Cups. I used to read with this deck all the time, and it's been sitting up there. So one thing about me, like kind of perusing my shelves and like seeing what I had, is that I forgot about decks that I had. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this would be really good to use. But yeah, I think that this would really be a good deck to work with for these type of readings also. Next up, let's see, where are we going next? The Quantum Oracle by Sandra Ann Taylor. Deviant Moon Tarot is by Patrick Valenza. I don't think I mentioned that creator. I love Sandra Ann Taylor's decks. I find that they read really, really well. Even her Akashic Record deck, I really love working with it. This deck is all about tapping into the quantum world, and that is like the unseen and the vibration and frequency that's going on around us. So we've got loss here. Got status quo, sacred temple. And I feel like this deck gives us, playing it safe, like a good variety of different scenarios. There's fear. These have suits. So this is an energy card. There's an intention card, and this is peace. So you can kind of also give clues into whether it's an energy, a spirit, an intention, or a consciousness, and just kind of really reading into things. And we have angels of the 4 directions. So I think this is a really good one. Events, travel, to work with as well. And then I also pulled one of my favorite decks. It is also a Sandra Ann Taylor deck. It is her Energy Oracle. This one I use a lot. I like using it to read the underlying energy of a reading. Like if I'm doing a reading and maybe there's a couple people involved or different options, I'll read like what is the energy surrounding it or surrounding each option, and that kind of gives me the chance to see which feels better, which seems like the best outcome. So we've got contract, Archangel Michael, the garden and the gate. There's yin yang. And I like this deck because it kind of has like an otherworldly feel to it, but it's also very grounded and easy to like really connect and understand what the keyword as well as the images is trying to say. That's appreciation. And this is one of my favorite cards, action. I have not decided what reading I'm gonna open up. Actually, I did. I said the first reading that I was gonna do was just kind of create a spread to explore even just the idea of me pursuing these type of readings and see like what comes out with that. The next deck I have is the Revealing the Truth Oracle. This was another one that I found on Amazon. And this has a lot more kind of shadow cards, and its intention is to like look at the hidden truth, the underlying energy or intention behind things that come up. So we've got guard, there's basement, loss of control, greed. All of the cards aren't really dark like that, but I like this deck because it does have that infusion. So this is curiosity. Let's see. We've got roll the dice, noisy sound, there's street. So I think it just gives like a good overview of different like topics or energies that would be helpful for any reading. I definitely will have to, like, especially after I go through all of my decks, kind of like whittle it down to like a few like core decks. That way I'm not like trying to pull from like a ton. This one, Tarot of the Unexplained, is kind of what really kind of sparked my desire to shift and like really focus on these types of readings, because it was the first deck that I came across that touched on these things. I love the suits of the deck, and that it's just focused on things like UFOs, ghosts, cryptids. There's the Five of Saucers. And I like the artwork. It's really clear. I like the colors in the art. But what I love most about this deck is the guidebook. So there's one of the majors, that's the Yeti. The guidebook assigns a paranormal meaning to each of the cards, which I think is really great. This is one that I probably will definitely work with a lot, and then also develop my own language and association of different mystical, mysterious, paranormal, supernatural things within the tarot cards, so that I start to develop my own language and intuition behind it. But yeah, this I've been wanting to do these types of readings for a very long time. And I think when I saw this deck, it was just like a sign, like, yes, let's do this. Let's explore these things. So that's definitely going to be one of the key decks that I work with. This deck is like an honorable mention, Supernatural Tarot. I got the deck before even watching the show, and I got it because I was thinking, oh, supernatural, it's gonna be like really interesting and, you know, have a lot of unique things. I thought this deck was going to be more like what this deck is, but it's really not. It's really just based off the show, and it's just people on most of the cards. So you would kind of need to like know the people. That's the Ace of Blades, the King of Goblets. I thought watching, because I did wind up watching the entire series thinking it would help me like understand the cards. No, not really. So that's why this is an honorable mention. It was a pretty decent show. Then towards the end, it just got real wild. But it does have a decent guidebook that really explains and breaks down the cards. I just wish it had more images and scenery versus being so people focused. And then some of the cards, like the Pentacles, are more like pip style. So one of the things that I have noticed is with decks that are based off of like movies or shows or things like that, a lot of times they do tend to be more pippish decks. And I try to stay away from those because I like seeing the art and imagery and things like that. but this was an honorable mention. Next, I have Spirit Messages. This is from John Holland. Can I get it open? So I like this because if there are people or energies around that maybe have something to say, or if we want to find out the message or the meaning behind a particular phenomenon or thing, I thought that this might be a good way to do it, especially if it feels like a guiding energy. So those are the backs of the cards. I really love the butterflies. So there's a child's love, a father's love, a mother's love. There we go. Ancestral wisdom. So sometimes when I'm doing healing, there's memories, healing sessions, like people or spirits will come in, and I think this would be a great deck to kind of like pull from just to clarify any messages. And then there's trust. So I thought this would be nice to add into my collection in case I come across someone that needs to communicate something. Okay, this deck is the Uncover Your Past Lives Oracle by Mandy Peterson. I feel like this is available on Etsy. It's a circular deck, but I love it because it is a circular deck with a purpose. So each side, well, I guess circles don't have sides, but each part of the circle has a meaning. And there's also some extra cards where I can like create my own. But what I like about it is it gives like a lesson, a faith, a location, death, time frame, identity, trauma. So it just goes over like these different things that could have happened in a place or to someone or around something that can just give more depth and nuance. So this is why I pulled that one, because I knew it had different themes that really could be helpful in a reading. And then on the back, it has like different like roles. Like this one says Rise of Civilization, Dreamer, Organizer, Planner, Developer. So even the backs or the fronts, however way you look at it, like all have meaning. So this one is like out-of-body experience, near-death experience, between lives, post-life review. So it just kind of gives these different stages. So there's so many different ways to work with this deck. Typically, I'm not a fan of circular decks because they are a challenge to shuffle. But I think this one was really well thought out, and that the shape actually adds to the reading. One thing that I will do is probably go through and do a more like in-depth look at each of the decks for you, so that way you can kind of get a better glimpse of the cards. Another one that I picked up off the shelf was the Past Life Oracle. This was a Doreen Virtue and Brian Weiss deck. And again, kind of like with the spirit messages, just to kind of get an idea of what may have occurred or who or what something may have been. So there's health, wisdom, I love unicorns, father, angels, knighthood, medicine man or woman. We've got galactic. So this can kind of tell more so about like people, places. Like this also has like food and hunger. So different things that may have been going on, that may have been experienced, and by who. Uh-oh, I can't get it back. There we go. Next, I will share the Galactic Star Tarot by Alexandra Hanley and Pamela Chen. This is a newer deck to my collection, so I haven't really worked with it or gone through it yet. But I love the backs. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty and colorful? But I loved it because, again, it is tapping into other realms, other world, being galactic. And I just thought this would be a really beautiful deck to pull in just for like the expansiveness of it. So there's the Fool, the Magician. They're still in order. High Priestess. We've got Four of Swords. There's Two of Cups, which is really beautiful because that looks like Pamela and Alexandra there with their pets. So yeah, this is a really cute deck that I thought would be fun to bring into these type of readings. It's all about stepping into new realms, meeting different star beings, and really bringing in that galactic energy, because like I said, some of the readings that I want to do is probably even like channeling. So I'm really excited about all of this, and I think that deck will be a lot of fun to work with. Next up, the Beloved Dead Oracle. This one, again, very people focused. This one has different suits as well, but I thought this would be very interesting. I love the muted tone of the deck too, because it kind of takes you back to another time. That's Remember. There's Service, Shine, Snake. So it kind of gives like a lot of keywords and characteristics that may apply. There's Driver, to a situation, act of love, self-preservation. So yeah, I thought this would be a good one to include as well. I know I said I wasn't necessarily going to do readings around like people, but I don't know. It just, when I was going through my decks, these are the ones where it was like, pull these two. So who knows what will unfold. Okay. Next is the Southern Gothic Oracle. Also have the expansion pack. I think there was like a Poison and a Haunt expansion pack. Those are the, yeah. Okay, yeah. So I mixed them all together. So we've got the Horseshoe. There's the Alligator. Pair of shoes. And I like this because it is rooted in like Southern lore and being from the South. And then here we have like the Conjured Spirit. So I think a lot of these would go really well. You have Crimes of Passion, Boo Hag, Deadly Nightshade, Mothman, Poison Ivy. So I think this would be a really great deck to use also, just because it is, it provides a lot of different keywords, characteristics that could apply. So yeah, I just threw them all together in one big deck. So that is the Southern Gothic Oracle by Stacey Williams Ing. Dun, dun, dun. I forgot that I had this deck until one of my tarot friends was like, that's a good deck. And then I checked in my deck collection database and I was like, I have that. I'm going to use it. So I'm glad that I was able to find it and pull it off of my shelf. Another honorable mention is the deck of Celestials Tarot. This is more of a pip style deck. But I think it's worth mentioning just because it is very, look at that. Look how pretty that is. Just because it is very like otherworldly. I think this would even be fun for like dream readings. That's the Fool. I have not use this deck. There is the Sun, Four of Cups. I do like the artwork, but like I said, I'm not a fan of like the pip style decks. But this one does, I still like it because I can get more out of it just because of the way the artwork, oopsie, I just totally dropped all of those. Because the way the artwork was done, it's very whimsical, and I think this would be good for like communicating messages. And also I like using these for clarification. So if I pull things out and I need to clarify, I find that clarifying with a pip deck, instead of adding more, it just really, I don't know, for me, I find that it clears things up. They're not in order. That's okay, I'm gonna read with it at some point. But yeah, I think this was also a very beautiful and well-made deck. They had like a Zodiac expansion pack, so it came with the additional Zodiac cards. So there's one for each sign. So that was an honorable mention. I think I probably would keep this one to work with, like I said, as like a clarifier, because then I'll be able to put it to good use. Then we're down to the final, well, 2 or /3. So I've got the Book of Shadows Tarot, the As Above, So Below. I did do a reading or review on this deck on my main channel. But what I love is that, so it's 2 decks. Let me see if I can coordinate myself. And one is As Above, so more spirit, and the other is earthly. So I like that it can give readings as to like what happened energetically, how did it affect things in the physical, and vice versa. So I thought this would be a really, really beautiful way to work with these cards. Okay, so let's see if I can share a few. So there is the Fool from both decks. Yeah, I probably won't share. Let's see. And this one, the names are a bit different. Like the Fool in this deck is Summerlands. The Magician is the Elements. So I do like that it is kind of correlated with magic. And then there's the Two of Water or Cups. The Four of Earth. So yeah, I really like this for kind of like the comparison and contrast and seeing how things are affecting other things. There's the Emperor, and this is the As Above. 3 of Pentacles. I love that. I love art and just seeing an artist doing their thing. And 9 of Wands. And this is by Barbara Moore. So it is the Book of Shadows Tarot. Each of these decks are available separately. And the guidebook has like a lot of really good in-depth information too. The final deck is a newer one to me. It is the Dreaming Oracle. I haven't really gone through it, and this one I got because I've been doing more dream work for myself, and I saw the artwork from a friend who shared the deck with me, and I really, really loved it. And because the art is so like abstract, it's watercolor and it flows, to me, I think that this would be a good deck that I could use for these types of readings as well. Lots of animals in the deck. I love the colors. It's so vivid. And I just thought this would be a good one to include too. All right, so that concludes part 1 of the decks that I am in my collection that I would consider to use for these type of readings. I have a lot more to pull and go through and just see which ones would lend themselves really well to these types of readings. And then I'm going to try to pare it down to Just a few core decks, no more than 10 that I really want to work with. These two, I feel, well, these three, 4. see, I'm already having trouble because then I've already got 6 if I count. Yeah, okay. Let me just not do that right now. But definitely the Tarot of the Unexplained and the deck of the Celestials Tarot are 2 that I would definitely work with, along with the Southern Gothic Oracle and both of these. So who knows, I may wind up using some, all, or none in various ways, but I just wanted to share with you and find something fun for myself to do because I have not been feeling the best today. I had a headache and I was just like, I need to do something. And so I was like, let me come do something that I love. Let's talk about tarot. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really excited and would love to know what types of readings, if you have an idea or a suggestion or something that you've come across and you're like, what is really going on? Let me know so I can dig in with my cards and see what comes up. All right, I will see you again soon. Peace.